Paraphrasing is an important academic skill. However, it can also be really hard. I sometimes find that students have a section they want to paraphrase. They know that there's nothing particularly special about the words and the way they're written that would mean they should use a direct quote. So they want to paraphrase, but the words of the original are so stuck in their mind, or the language is so technical that they just can't see how to paraphrase. It just feels impossible. Now, the typical advice to help you paraphrase is to read the original, take notes from that, and then, incorporate the ideas into your own work, adding in the appropriate references. But what do you do when you really are stuck and you can't think of how to write something different from the original? How to write it in a different way whilst keeping the idea the same? I'd like to look at a strategy for what to do when you're stuck, when when paraphrasing feels impossible, or it might be that you've had a go at paraphrasing, but you're just not sure if it's enough. The questions that we're going to look at will help you to think through that question yourself. Okay, so here are 6 steps to help you think through paraphrasing when you're stuck or feeling unsure. First thing to think about looking at the original in kind of a broad sense, can you change the order of ideas? By this I mean, if it's a cause and effect, could you start with the effect and then move on to the cause? If you've got different reasons for something, a result of something, could you move those ideas around? The second one is, can the sentence structure be changed? So here it's really important to understand the different types of sentence structures: simple, compound, complex. If you're not sure about those different sentence structures, I'd really recommend watching the video on sentence structures. It's not the most exciting topic in the world for everyone, but it is really important in helping with paraphrasing. If you understand the sentence structure, it's a key part. So for example, you might see that you've got one complex sentence. Could you move it into 2 simple sentences? Could you move it into a compound sentence? Can you change the structure of the sentence? The subject of the sentence is really key. And often, if you change the subject of the sentence, it will naturally make the rest of the sentence flow quite differently. The next step, as we're really narrowing down what we're thinking about, can you break down phrases? So the kind of, slightly smaller chunks of language, can you break those apart and move them around? Then step 4 is looking for synonyms or changes in the word form. Now point 4 is the part where often people jump straight in. But you can see that if you just come in at synonyms and changing the words, that could really be quite challenging, especially in technical writing. It's much more than just changing the vocabulary. You need to be looking at the underlying structures and the order and flow of ideas. Once you've made these changes, you then want to look back at the paraphrase and think about whether it is accurate, looking at the grammar, looking at the style, looking at the meaning, and thinking about how it flows with the rest of your writing. Then you need to look at, obviously, sometimes you can be so pleased you've managed to actually paraphrase it. You need to not forget the appropriate in and end text referencing. And again, partly this is a task you have to do. You have to add the referencing in and end text, but also the way in which you communicate your references can have a real impact on the flow of your language. So again, if you're not sure about this, I would suggest watching the other video we have on communicating your referencing. So I hope that this video gives you just a little strategy for when you are feeling stuck, and really would encourage you to seek out help, to ask for advice if you are finding it difficult to paraphrase. It's much better to do that than to struggle on with it or trying to hide a problem that you're having.